And we're live. Welcome to Living World of Darkness Mage Venue. An evening. One of five, in fact. It's been some time since new members of this ecstatic house turned up at the door of Diogenes Club. Trying or never even got anywhere anywhere at all with group therapy sessions, as the misunderstanding had an MP3 player destroyed, which was a very important part of someone's identity. It's been several days since that's happened now. And one of the ecstatics, somebody that seems to be the most broken, found on the streets with no identity, has been staying at the behest of the Order of Hermes. She seems distant for the past couple of days, and any noise that you would hear from the central foyer or from the gates, or a sound of cars going past in the distance, would have her looking out the windows to see if her ecstatic friends were returning to pick her back up again. Distant during lunches and dinners, seems to be amicable and passive enough, but there's not much gone beyond that. She's been left to her own devices by Edwin and stayed mostly to her room, surrounded by books that have been picked up from the library, given an opportunity to take a rest. And we'll draw in our scene in an evening where Edwin will walk along the ground on the second floor towards the room where Ginger's living. A book and a tray is being carried, and there's a glass of water and a book that he's found that might be of particular interest. And well, he's found a CD. Technology, it's not one of his fortes, but when it comes to music, well, yeah, the MP3s and CD players are the limit of his technological prowess. And he's bringing one of these as well. And he raps on the door. Hello? Ginger?
There's no, not a reply coming at this point. It's just silent. It's very silent in the room behind the door.
Edwin looks down to see if there's light being cast from the coming under the doorway.
There seems to still be a light on, yeah. Actually, it seems to be rather bright inside.
He knocks again. Ginger? Hello?
There is still no reply yet.
He places his hand on the door. Are you decent? I'm gonna come in. He tries the door handle slowly.
It's open, and she opened the door, peek around the corner. It's like around on the floor. A couple of pencils as well. Might be a bit of a disturbing view to see that some of the books, some of the pages, been ripped from the books. There are notes on the pages, and in between these books, basically on the middle of the carpet, there's the curled up form of Ginger, who seems to be falling asleep like on top of one of the books.
So she's probably got like bits of paper and pages stuck to her face and stuff.
Yeah, there's like a crayon or a pencil stuck in her hand, and the other one is actually her thumb is actually in her mouth.
Oh dear. Edwin will walk over towards the sort of table side by the bed and place the tray with the CD and the book and the page and the drink and water down. He'll look at the book and then look at the mess on the floor and then be like, no, I have a copy of this. He closes the door again, walking gently over and on tiptoes so as to not sort of tear any of the pages around or to sort of startle the sleeping form of Ginger. He kneels down, placing his hand on her shoulder, gently try to sort of shake her awake.
Her eyes seem to open just a bit, but then kind of shut again. She's not entirely there.
The light is too bright. So Edwin will go and flip the nightlight on, a lamp that's set up by the bedside, and we'll flick the main lights off in the room. There's a nice warmer tone to this room now. That it's not so brilliant white. It's sort of a much dimmer, but it's got nicer sort of almost like sunset hues. And we'll say, "Wakey, wakey, my dear. It's evening. You okay?"
She'll she seems to be humming. Seems to be humming a little bit, and then it stops, and she opens her eyes. Looking up.
Quite the literary masterpiece, he says, looking over the pages torn out with the writing on them. He picks up a leaf of paper. I'll look at the notes that have been made, see if there's any sense to them.
There seem to be a lot of numbers there. Some of the words seem to be, some of the letters seem to be scribbled through, like made black, and then the rest of the letters have been added to another word, been subtracted by a couple of sentences in a certain alinea, and so on and so on. Seems to be a lot of calculations there. From time to time, there's just an entire sentence that has been rewritten, or the words kind of changed. So some of the sentences therefore don't make any sense anymore, and some seem to be saying exactly the same as they did before, but just differently.
He looks over to Ginger and looks into her eyes and see what kind of status she's in currently. Is she still in the process of waking up, or is she starting to become a bit more compos mentis? She's more present.
She is. Actually, didn't really thought of that, so let's make that a. Right. Even the dice are rolling a blank. Okay, fuck it. 3 blanks. Yeah, she is. She she has her eyes open. there's at this point not really an emotion on her face. She is kind of staring forward. She's following your movements, but that's about it.
You seem to have taken an odd place to try and sleep there. There's a perfectly good bed over there. Gotcha. Do you want to? Let me. Just give me a moment, he says. He stands up and he walks over and he sort of pulls aside the sort of bed sheets, sort of like, and he'll go over to sort of make to scoop Ginger up, put her back in, put her in a slightly more comfortable position and on the sort of hardwood, barely carpeted floors. Are they up?
She at first seems to make a movement, kind of as if she wants to stop him. Then, for some reason, she just leans in, wrapping her arms around his neck and laying her head on his shoulder as he kind of half carries her over to the bed. There's almost a sigh of content. Is that correct English?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. And she seems to relax a little and stretches out as she touches the mattress. Then again curls up.
He does his best to tuck her in, and he will, one moment, and he will sort of nip over to pick up the pages on the floor. Not to sort of make it pass any comment on them, he just pick them up off the floor. The books themselves that have been sort of damaged, he will sort of lift as well, sort of place them on a table, like a dressing table. He'll finger through the sort of where the pages have been torn out, muttering to himself, easily repairable. Placing the books all down and then placing the damaged pages sort of nearby, and that is something that can be sorted out for the next day. It is evening right now. He'll pop back over again to his charge, looking again to see. So you wanted to write your own story?
She's not really responding. Her thumb is back in her mouth again. Her eyes are still open. It's like halfway. She seems to be humming again. It's a slow song. Bit sad, maybe.
He will say nothing, but so doesn't recognize the song immediately, but he will sit beside her for a time. He won't need to say much, just to see if she's okay and see if she's sort of drifting off to sleep. One of the things that he remembers very early on was how soporific it was when you have someone run their fingers through your hair. So as Ginger lays there humming away this sad song, he will do that.
The song just kind of becomes softer and sometimes just stops. So her voice kind of seems to stop there and then picks up again until maybe like after a minute or so it just dies out and her eyes have closed.
To die, to sleep no more. And by sleep to say, we end the heartache of 1,000 natural shocks. That flesh is heir to the consummation, devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Sweet dreams, Ginger. Maybe I can offer some help whilst you're here to fight off the demons that you'll battle with on every night. He pulls up a chair gently beside her side, sits down next to her on a bed, closes his own eyes, places a hand upon her forehead as she sleeps, and mutters something under his breath. An incantation. And we pass into the realm of Morpheus, where the room fades out to darkness. And then we join our travelers again in the dreams of someone. What does Edwin see?
Dreams start white, just full white. And as she seemed to be walking in just nothing but whiteness. There is softly and slowly there are images shaping. Still the same white, actually. It's kind of weird to be walking in white and see images all around, but later on you realize that these seem to be snowflakes. First, very big ones, just almost as big as a fist, so you can clearly see each unique flake there is. And as they fall all around you, you start to see more of a landscape develop. Hills, still snowing, and on these hills you can see a small girl walking in front of you. There's ginger-colored hair that sticks out behind the backgrounds, the pure white. She's wearing a green jacket. She seems to be running, although she's not going any faster than you are, so either you're speeding up or she's not running as fast as you think she should.
Gently he walks. He's wearing just a standard, wearing a coat and trousers, shoes, but his feet leave no footprints as he walks through the snow. He is wearing black, I guess, a black coat. Seems to stick out in stark contrast, and he doesn't quicken his pace when he follows the girl, but he is watching her intently. Where does she go?
And as you're watching her, there seems to be a gust of wind, and the snow kind of sweeps around. As the snow passes, there is a house appearing, and she's going towards the house. There's it appears to be a cottage, like early 20th century style. Blue door. She opens it, and as there's light shining in, and as she steps in, the scenery changes. One big wave of water seems to wash everything away. Instead of the white, it becomes dark, and you can't breathe. You have the feeling you're drowning. There is you're trying to swim up, but you're actually confused as to where up is, as you're being pulled away deeper and deeper. Or maybe you are going up. You don't actually know. You can see the swirl of your of the long ginger hair that is there. That seems to be you, or maybe not. But there's a storm raging around you. You can feel it by all the currents of the water flowing and pulling and pushing on you. You can sometimes you see a light that drifts somewhere in the water next to you, and slowly drifts away deeper, or maybe not. You see metal plates. It bumps against you, and then as a toy you twirl around and it's gone again. And finally you break the surface. There's nothing but waves around you. Waves and darkness. There's lightning. You can just see the hull of a ship. Or is it something else? Maybe it's a door. Blue door. It's cold.
With arms, he swims or walks or burrows or whatever towards this door.
It takes a long time. You feel like you're getting exhausted just trying to reach it. As you feel the strength in your arms and legs kind of start to deteriorate, kind of ebb away. You're afraid you might not be able to make it. It's just the urge to go to that door, to go to that place, and you finally manage to reach, and it's a blue wooden door.
Similar to the one that I saw from a distance on the house.
Mm-hmm.
Am I back into the snowy place?
The door is drifting on the sea.
Okay.
But it's open slightly, and you can see some warm light coming from it, actually.
And I'm still tired from the ordeal. I reach the door and say, weary with toil, I haste to my bed. A dear repose for limbs with travel tired, but then begins a journey in my head. He opens the door, pushes it open even more.
And Music swells in again. Um, More almost cheerful. And you walk inside the cottage. It seems to be Christmas again. There's a Christmas tree and presents underneath it. And you see this girl looks older than you actually thought she was. At first, when you spotted her in the snow, she looked like she was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And now that you're inside the house, you can see that she is putting another present underneath the tree. That she's actually more like 10, maybe even somewhere around 10, maybe 11 years old. There's this smell of freshly baked cookies coming from the kitchen, or what you think might be the kitchen. And there's in the corner of this cottage, there is a piano standing, a trumpet on top of it. And the green coat is hanging over one of the chairs, kind of dripping because of snow.
Mm.
As she seems to be preparing things. All in all, it seems a rather rather peaceful place. At some point, she's looking up. There's stairs. She seems to be shouting. There's no words actually coming, but as she shouts, the image seems to shatter, and it seems to shatter like glass as it's falling away from you. But beyond the glass is more glass um, as you reach out and you put your hands against the glass, and you look at your hands and you see that there are leather straps around the wrists. Seem to have been broken. The
Mm.
looks like you've pulled them loose. As you can see, the skin around your wrists being red and blue. It's a confusing place. You want to get out. You're hurting. It's your head hurts. Your legs hurt, and there's something that is stabbing you in the spine almost constantly, as if they're pushing a knife in the back, the lower part of your back. Just has to stop. It has to stop now. It's the only thing that's in your mind. You have to make sure that this pain stops. The only way this stops is by going out there. If you try to move your head, you find that your head is still, you can't move it. There's something around it. Seems to be holding it in place. Same goes for your feet. You hear a scream, but it's not your own voice. It sounds angry, frustrated. It's a woman's voice. Girls, maybe. Young woman. And
What does she say?
it's just a scream. It's no words. You can see shapes appearing in front of the glass cage. You can't really see a face or anything. It's dark. They're dark shadows, figures. And then there's a shock going through your entire body. The image becomes more dark, more away. Seem to be not entirely in this image anymore.
The pain, does that subside?
It actually increases at that point.
But the world grows dim.
Hmm.
I'll try and call with my own voice.
As you if you try to shout out, you can hear some laughing in the distance. Very low voice. Not quite sure if it's male or female. It's a low voice, but difficult. You try to focus on bringing out your own voice, and finally, as you start to hear the ring of your own sounds, as your throat seems to be working for some reason, you you hear a very tiny voice in the back of your head. That's definitely not yours, not your voice. Although you are screaming at this point, you're shouting. There's this tiny female voice that simply says, hide. Don't let them take it. Hide. And then the voice gets cut off. But your scream just echoes further and penetrates the darkness.
Oh, Edwin goes deadly silent at this. And he'll look around in the environment. He can see a place that he can scamper away.
The darkness deepens. Slowly the pain starts to subside and the sounds are making place once again for this kind of familiar song by now. In the darkness now, shapes appear. A window. The girl is looking through it, then turns her gaze to a desk. There's someone sitting behind the desk. Actually, although sitting, his arms are on the desk and his head on top of his arms. The girl is just grabbing a blanket and wraps it around or over his shoulders, covering him up a little. Then closes some of the books that were opened on the desk and puts them away in a cabinet. She, you keep looking at her back, and the hair seems to be longer than you saw before. And she'll finally turn around. There's a smile on her face as she closes the door to the study and goes down the stairs. Just whispers, "Merry Christmas."
Am I still in the room?
No, not at this point. But the door is closed. It's there. Girls are going down the stairway. You can choose.
The doorway's still there and she's going downstairs.
She's going downstairs, so you can either turn around and head into the room, or you could follow her if you want to.
Well, my mission was to see her safe, even though the room felt familiar and there's a desire to explore. Edwin will head downstairs.
And she go downstairs. You see her putting on that green coat again, although it seems longer than before. She she leaves. She leaves the house, and There's a man waiting. Dark man. Long coat. Hood. Just only see the silhouette. And he wraps an arm around her. She looks around at the house. And then there's this flash of pain again in your head. As the dream just seems to grow dark at that point. The last thing that you see is a look of sadness in her eyes.
Where are we now?
It seems to be nothing.
Is there any feeling at all? Or is it cold and dark?
It's almost a welcoming dark. Quiet, peaceful.
And silent, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Edwin will take up the melody that has been played throughout his journey, and he will walk into the darkness, humming and then singing with strength and conviction in his voice as he leaves the darkness and departing the realm of dreams. He comes back to the room in the Diogenes Club. His eyes open and he takes his hand off the forehead of Ginger. He looks over at Ginger expectantly. What does she look like? She's at peace, or does she look like she's having a bad dream?
Mm. Mm. She frowns a little. Her a couple of wrinkles in her forehead. She doesn't seem very distressed, but something seems to be bothering her.
He smiles gently, placing his hand again on her forehead. Oh sleep, oh gentle sleep. Nature's soft nurse, now have I frighted thee, that now no more wilt weigh my eyes down and steep my senses in forgetfulness. He closes his eyes again and he summons an image of absolute happiness, one of his achievements that he did, scoring a test result or finding out that he could do magic for the first time that he was able to calculate something in the Book of Hermes, the first time that the spirits answered his call, the first time that he spoke to some an elemental of the earth or the wind or fire that had been around him for the dawn of time, and some great passion or some happy moment of his life. And he sends that emotion on the snowflakes in her dream are the emotions of happiness. He moves his hands, opens his eyes again, smiles, and will say, "Sweet dreams." He turns off the lamp beside her, switching on only the nightlight, opens the door to exit, turns back one more time, closes the door, and leaves the room.